بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فوجد عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد في أول كلامنا، اللهم صل على محمد في أوسط كلامنا، اللهم صل على محمد في آخر كلامنا. Alhamdulillah, we have very few days left before this blessed month comes to an end. May Allah grant all of us the ability, may Allah grant all of us the understanding to make the most out of it, of these few days that we have left. The verse which I recited before you, Allah Almighty says, Allah mentioned the incident of Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam, Allah has mentioned his incident in the Quran the most. In fact, out of the 30 juz, 30 para of the Quran, Allah has mentioned him in 28 juz. His name is mentioned. Except for 2 juz in the Quran where his name is not mentioned, all of the 28 juz has the name of Musa alayhi salam. So here Allah mentions a unique incident of Musa alayhi salam. Allah normally mentions the incident of Musa alayhi salam and his da'wah to Fir'aun, his da'wah to his people, his qawm. But here Allah is mentioning a unique incident where Musa alayhi salam, he is standing, he is with his people, and somebody asked him a question that, "Oh Musa, O Kalimullah, who is the most knowledgeable person? Who has the most knowledge?" So Musa alayhi salam said, "I am," because out of the people there, wahi, revelation was coming directly to him, and he was the Kalim of Allah. He was somebody who Allah spoke with. And this is also very amazing. When it came to give da'wah to people, then Musa alayhi salam, he said to Allah, "Oh Allah, I cannot speak properly. I have stuttering, I have problem in my speech. So make my brother Harun, huwa afsahu minni lisana. He is more eloquent than me in speech. He is more clear than me in talking. So make him my spokesperson." So can you just imagine, Musa alayhi salam cannot speak properly. His speech is not great. Harun alayhi salam is the one who is more fasih, who has more eloquence. He is more clear in his speech. But Harun alayhi salam is not the Kalim of Allah. Musa alayhi salam is the Kalim of Allah. So to speak with the people you need eloquence, but to speak with Allah you don't even need a tongue. You don't need a tongue. The most person who cannot even speak properly, who cannot do anything properly, but he can have a really good deep conversation with Allah, the master of everything. In fact, we look in history, amongst the good scholars, the top gems of the ummah, so many of them were disabled, so many of them couldn't walk properly, so many of them had sight issues, so many of them didn't have the appearance. So when it came to health, when it came to the body physique, they were unable. But when it came to knowledge of deen and doing the work of deen, they were so able that until today we remember them. Until today. One of the tabi'een, Ata ibn Abi Rabah, according to some narration, he's a tabi'i, studied with Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu and the others. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi is he's just performed his Umrah, he's just performed his Hajj. and he's going for a haircut. So he goes to the barber and he says to the barber that I need a haircut as part of my ritual, so how much will it be? So the barber is saying, but this is a ibadah. This is part of your ritual. You don't discuss finance here. Come on, sit down. Give whatever you want to give. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, he sat down. Now the barber is taking a bit of time setting himself up. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi sat down in any direction. So he said, face the Qibla. The barber is saying, how come you're sitting anywhere and everywhere? Face the Qibla. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah, now he's upset. He said, the world is calling me an Imam, but this barber is teaching me some things. See how we can learn from everyone. Then now Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah, he's trying to get it over and done with. So he just said to the barber, just quickly finish it off. So then, so as he was saying this, he pointed in the left. So the barber is saying, don't you know that you should be doing everything from the right first? How dare you point to the left? So, like Allah mentions in the Quran, that when we wanted to speak to Musa alayhi salam, Allah didn't say that we just call him to Tur. وَنَادَيْنَاهُ مِنْ جَانِبِ الطُّورِ الْأَيْمَنِ. We call him to the right side of Tur. So much wisdom behind why Allah has mentioned the right side of it. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا لَبِشْتُمْ وَإِذَا تَوَضَّأْتُمْ فَابْدَأُوا بِمَيَامِنِكُمْ. When you are wearing your clothes, when you are making wudu, start with the right. The Prophet ﷺ also mentions, إِذَا أَكَلَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِيَمِينِهِ. When one of you eats, then he should eat with his right hand. وَإِذَا شَرِبَ فَلْيَشْرَبْ بِيَمِينِهِ. And when he is drinking, he should also drink with his right. And if we make our right hand the active hand, the thing that is used for good things, and that was the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to comb his hair with his right, and he used to do all virtuous things with his right, and the left hand was used on the side for cleaning himself after relieving himself and things like this. But most of the time the active hand was the right hand. All the good things were done from the right. This is the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if we make our right hand active, then on the day of Qiyamah, when the book of deeds will be thrown, will be scattered, automatically the right hand will go for it, inshallah. If we have, if we are writers, we do everything with the right. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ. Allah make it fall among them, inshallah. So, he said, start from the right. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi now saying, I'm not going to say anything now. I'm just going to keep quiet. Everything I'm trying to do, everything I'm trying to say, it's coming back on me. Anyway, as he's sitting there quietly and the barber is, shaving his head, then the barber says that, why are you quiet? Shouldn't you be reading labbaik? Shouldn't you be reading the takbir? You are still part of the ritual, you still haven't completed everything. So then, now he started reading his takbir, kabbir. And then, as he finished, then he said, I'm going to go now quickly. So the Baba asked him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to my people, wherever they are. So he said, read 2 rakat before you go. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi asked the Baba that today I have learned so much from you. Where did you learn all of this from? Where did you learn this from? He said, I have been attending the gatherings of Ata. Ata is a tabi'i, who is studied by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He said, I have been sitting in his gatherings in Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, and I have learned all this knowledge of deen which is relating to me and which is relating to my profession. I have learned it from him. That is what is needed today. That every person in any profession of life needs to know all the knowledge, all the Islamic rulings that is needed in that profession of his life. If I am a businessman, what does the Quran say about business? I need to go and study this. In the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, nobody was allowed to pitch up a stall or market unless he learned all the knowledge relating to business. How do I buy things? How do I sell things? How to refunds, deposits? What does Islam say about all these things? What does the Prophet ﷺ say about this? How did the Sahaba used to do dealings? If I am working for somebody, what are the rulings? What are the Islamic teachings? If I am a student, what are the rulings? What are the Islamic teachings? If I am a teacher, what are the rulings? What are the Islamic teachings? If I am the boss, if I am the manager, what are the rulings? What are the Islamic teachings? All these needs to be learned. Otherwise there will be chaos, like how we have chaos today. People, they seem to know everything. I know everything of deen. But in reality we don't know anything of deen. Allah says this. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Allah says, above every person there is always a person who is more knowledgeable than him. So Musa alayhi salam is with his people, and the people are asking him that, "Oh Musa, who is the most knowledgeable?" So Musa alayhi salam says, "I am." And he had the right to say it because he was the Prophet of Allah, the Kaleem of Allah. Wahi was coming directly to him. But Allah didn't like it. Allah said, "How dare you, although you're my Prophet, although you're my Kaleem, but how dare you refer being the most knowledgeable to yourself? You should have reverted to me, that Allah is the most knowledgeable. Oh Musa, there is a slave of mine. You who has more knowledge than you need to go to him." So Musa alayhi salam now is taking up a journey. He doesn't say, "Oh Allah, send him here." I need the knowledge, I need to go to him. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِفَتَاهُ لَا أَبْرَحْ. Allah mentions in Surah Al-Kahf, when Musa alayhi salam said to his youngster, who was Yusha bin Nun, who was going to be the next Prophet of Allah after him. Just recently we were in Jordan, and we went to what it is mentioned to be the tomb of Yusha bin Nun alayhi salam, the Prophet of Allah. It's a very long, tomb, long one. So we asked the Imam there that, was he really so long or something? Why is it so long? So he said, no, the reality is that we don't know the exact location of his grave. He could be here, he could be here, he could be here. So we just made the whole thing a tomb. And it's so beautiful, it's like on a hill in Jordan. And from there, the other side, you can see Jericho, where Allah mentions in the Quran, "Allati barakna hawla," the blessed lands of Palestine and the blessed land of Sham. So beautiful, such a beautiful scenery of valleys and trees and streams. Allah give us the ability to look after this land. Today we have no value. It is the most neglected yet the most blessed land, one of the most blessed land on earth. Inshallah, one of the other days when we have time we'll go into the detail. So Yusha alayhi salam is with him. So he says to Yusha that we're going to take up this journey and we are going to look for the slave of Allah, who Allah is saying that he's got more knowledge. I want to go there and I want to learn from him, even if huquba, years go away. What does huqub mean? Huqub, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in one hadith, in order to explain one of the meaning of huqub. He says a person, he misses one salah, although he makes it up later, he will be in Jahannam for one huqub. One huqub is equivalent to 80 years. 80 years. Allah give us understanding. A person who has missed one salah, although he made it up later, he will be in Jahannam for one huqub. That is why when the time for salah comes, it's only salah. Me and my Allah is calling me. How can there be anything else more important in my life than responding to my Allah? Allah give us such iman. If we put Allah at the top of our list, wallah, the Muslim will become at the top of the list in the world. But today for us, salah, dhikr, remembrance of Allah, masjid has become the bottom of the list. When I have time, I'll go. When I don't have time, I don't have time. That's the attitude. If I don't have time, I don't have time. Then the world doesn't want to know Muslims. The world doesn't want to know Islam because the Muslims don't want to practice on Islam. Muslims don't want to value Islam. Muslims don't have the value for the command of Allah, the value for the command of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why are the world going to value it? When we will value it, when we will give it importance, when we will look after it, when we will, show respect to it, wallah, the world will respect it. The world will respect it. So, Musa alayhi salam is on his travel now. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentions, Man kharaja fi talab al-ilm, the one who goes out to seek knowledge. فَهُوَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, he's in the path of Allah until he returns. The Prophet ﷺ did not say who sits at home and seeks knowledge. He goes out and seeks knowledge. He didn't say مَنْ جَلَسَ لِطَلَبِ الْعِلْمِ مَنْ خَرَجَ فِي طَلَبِ الْعِلْمِ, who goes out. Although knowledge can be sought in this day and age at home, online, on the internet, in the comfort of home, and there will be a lot of shuyukh and a lot of institutions who will be giving durus online and at home. But wallah, the knowledge which you will acquire by going out and going in the company of ulama and going in the circles of ulama, wallah, you will never find that knowledge anywhere in the world. The governor of Bukhara came to Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi and he said, "O Imam, I want you to come to my palace, come to my mansion and do the lessons of hadith. We've got all the facilities in place. More people could be accommodated than where you are in the masjid or wherever you are in your own institute." So what the answer Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi gave? He said, knowledge is something that you cannot bring to yourself. You need to go to it. And Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi himself traveled all over the Middle East and all over the Asia and all these countries just to seek the knowledge of hadith. And it took him 16 years just to compile Sahih al-Bukhari. 7,397 ahadith in Bukhari. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi sees a dream. He sees the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream. May Allah give us a dream. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that Man ra'ani fil manami faqad ra'ani. The one who has seen me in his dream, he has definitely seen me. There's no doubt about it. Because shaitan can take the form of anyone, but he can never take my form. So Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi sees the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream, and he's fanning the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the flies are coming to him, and he's fanning them away. He's chasing them away. So all these different flies are coming to the body of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he's fanning them away. So when he wakes up, he's very confused. Because this goes against reality. Because if we read the life, the seerah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the life of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we know that in the entire life of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not even one fly sat on his body. That's how pure he was. He was so pure, so clean, that not even one fly in his whole life sat on his body. Can you just imagine? Amazing. So, how is it possible that in his life no fly sat on him, but in his dream flies are sitting, and I'm fanning it away? How is it possible? So he asked, the interpreters of dreams. So they say that no, the meaning is not the real meaning. The meaning is the metaphorical meaning. That people will be labeling all sorts of things to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and just saying, "Qala Rasulullah, Qala Rasulullah, Qala Rasulullah," and Allah will choose you. Allah will choose you to take all those allegations away and compile a book of Sahih authentic ahadith. And until today we enjoy the book. Asahhul kutub ba'da kitabillah, the most authentic book after the book of Allah is Sahih al-Bukhari. Allah give us understanding. So the one who goes out to seek knowledge, who goes out, Allah make it from among those who go out to seek the knowledge of Deen. And subhanallah, Imam Malik rahmatullahi, he is the one who has written the first ever book of hadith, which is known as the Muwatta. And he used to give the dars, the lesson of Muwatta in Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the grave of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the masjid. Imagine, thousands of people from all over the world used to come and attend his lessons. But his lessons full of respect. He said, these are not my words, these are the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And everybody sitting in my lesson shouldn't make one sound. Total silence. No noise, no fidgeting. Everybody sitting with wudu. Everybody sitting with full adab to the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To the extent that one day he is giving the lesson of hadith, and one student is reading the ahadith of Muwatta, and he's sitting there listening, and like I mentioned, no noise. There used to be a door there, and the door used to be a little bit open, ajar. And the daughter of Imam Malik used to be behind the door, and she knew the whole Muwatta by heart. Around 2000 ahadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She knew it by heart. So whenever the reader, whoever was reading, used to make a mistake, she would just knock on the door. She would just pat on the door. So the reader would immediately know that I have made a mistake in reading somewhere. Those were even the women of the time. They were so linked with the words of Allah and the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was part of their life. Today we know a few hadith and we think we know everything. They knew thousands of hadith, yet they used to think we don't know anything. A person, he came to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi's house as a visitor, and something fell. Like, there must have been a door, or there must have been some wood, or like a shelf or something, that it fell down. And that person, he was sitting on the floor or somewhere on the side or something, he got a little bit hurt, just a little bit hurt, not too much. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi said that you are visiting our house. Now this injury has come to you in our house, so is there any way we can, give you compensation? How should we, keep you happy due to this injury? Now subhanAllah, to ask for compensation as well, you need to have the right knowledge. Amazing. Like I mentioned, we need knowledge for everything. We need the knowledge of deen for everything, even to ask for compensation. So that person, he is saying, he's coming from all the way from Africa, he's coming to Baghdad to learn by Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi. So he says that my compensation is, I will only be happy with this injury that I have had in your house until you mention 300,000 hadith to me. 300,000, not my words. You can pick up the book of Qadi Iyad Maliki in his Ash-Shifa. Qadi Iyad is from Morocco, Tangier. He has written it in his Shifa. He said 300,000 hadith. Then the narration mentions that Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi mentioned to him the 300,000 hadith, then he became happy. Imam didn't just become Imam like this by learning a few hadith. This narration mentions 300,000. Allah knows how much he actually knew. No, the world doesn't just call him Imam al-Azam just like this. He was the ocean of knowledge. He was Imam al-Azam in the real sense. He had that knowledge of deen. So Imam Malik rahmatullahi, he's doing the ahadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the students are sitting there, and they see the color of his face is changing, but they are not allowed to say anything. He maintains respect, he maintains total silence, adab. If we are not going to have adab for deen, for the knowledge of deen, we are not going to get anywhere. So then they see his face, the color of his face changing again. They want to ask him that everything okay, but they can't. Until the lesson comes to an end. Then they quickly go to him and say, Shaykh, we see your face, your color of your face is changing, everything okay, everything alright? So he said, something seems to be hurting me at the back. So when they see his back, there was a scorpion who had been biting him, and it had bit him 17 times. But out of respect for the words of Allah and the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't even move an inch. He said, the words of Allah and the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being read. How can I make a fuss out of it? I can die in this situation, but I cannot disrespect the words of Allah and the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How much adab, how much respect, how much etiquette they had for the words of Allah and the words of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One more incident before we finish. Out of all the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, one that is known as the Imam, and the Imam of Tafsir, the Imam of Mufassirin, is Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he is the cousin of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he left this world, according to one narration he was 13. According to another narration he was 15. So he was very young. And he had a lot of zeal to learn. So he would travel for a whole month sometimes. Just that he knew that there is a Sahabi who is living in a month's journey, who knows some ahadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he would go there, take that whole month, weeks of journey, and he would get there, and it used to be the afternoon time. And he would see that the door of the Sahabi is closed. So he wouldn't even knock on the door. He would say, I need the knowledge, so let me wait till he opens the door himself. So he would wait outside in the desert heat, in the midday heat, which is much more hotter than the summer here. And sometimes it would be hours. Sometimes it would be 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, until the Sahabi, he used to be taking a rest, afternoon nap inside, and then he would come and he would open the door and he would see Abdullah ibn Abbas sitting outside. He said, you should have knocked on the door. You should have knocked. So he said, no, I need the knowledge from you. Why should I disturb you? Like Allah mentions in the Quran in Surah Al-Hujurat, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ صَبَرُوا حَتَّى تَخْرُجَ إِلَيْهِمْ. If these people, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that are calling you from outside, if they were to wait until you come to them, that would be better for them. Instead of them calling you, O Muhammad, come out, come out, come out. They need you. They want a deed from you. They should wait for you. Allah is teaching the Ummah etiquette of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, etiquette of deen. So, once Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says that there was a certain verse in the Quran which Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Tahrim, that Allah mentioned the incident of 2 of the wives of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a long incident, the hadith of Bukhari. They said, I never knew the full picture of it. So I asked a few Sahaba and they told me that if you want to learn the full picture of it, Umar radiallahu anhu is the man. Learn from Umar. So he said, I would want to ask the question to Umar radiallahu anhu. So sometimes I would see him, but he's busy talking to somebody. Then I said, no, it's not the right time, he's talking to somebody. Then I would want to see him, ask him the question, but then he's thinking. So I said, no, maybe he's in his own, he needs a bit of time for himself. Then I would see him, he's busy doing something. And like this, a whole year went past. Sometimes I would see him, I said, no, is this the right time? No, he's busy. I don't want to disturb him. Is this the right time? No. To the extent that once I found out that Umar radiallahu anhu will be taking the journey of Hajj. So I said, maybe this is my time to ask that question, to learn from him. So I asked him, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, I heard that you will be traveling for Hajj. Can I join you, please? And the only reason I wanted to join him is that so I can seek the knowledge of deen from him. I can learn the tafsir of this ayah, this surah from him. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, yes, why not? Please join me. So he said that whilst we were on the journey, then we stopped in a place. Umar radiallahu anhu went to relieve himself. So I knew that now he's going to come back, he would be doing his wudu. So I quickly got the water of wudu together. And as he came back, and I was pouring the water for him, and I was helping him do his wudu. And I saw him that he was really very relaxed and very nourished and very happy. So I told him, as I was helping him do the wudu, that O Amir al-Mu'mineen, O Umar ibn Khattab, for 1 year I have been trying to ask you this question, but I just couldn't find the right time. Sometimes you would be busy talking to somebody, sometimes you would be busy yourself, sometimes you would be doing something else. Is it the right moment? Am I okay to ask you the question now? Am I okay to ask you the question now? So Umar said, yes, why not? Please ask me the question. He said, then I asked him a question and then Umar radiallahu anhu told me the full detail of it. Then I understood the whole picture behind that surah of the Quran. You know, me and you learning the knowledge of deen, and Sahaba radiallahu anhu experiencing the Quran, who saw the Quran coming down. Amazing. They saw Jibreel alayhi salam coming down in the verses of the Quran. We can never be on that level. Allah give us understanding. That is how Abdullah ibn Abbas became Abdullah ibn Abbas. By his respect for knowledge, by his zeal to learn. Wallah, we die 50 years down the line, 100 years down the line, nobody will remember us for anything. Nobody will remember us for the cars we drive. Nobody is going to remember our jobs. Nobody is going to remember our homes. In fact, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they will even forget us. We are living in a time where even children are forgetting their parents. So for the first few days they say, oh, my father has been buried here, I need to go and visit him. A month or two later he will say, okay, you know, I used to go to visit my father's grave, now maybe once a month or once a year or something, on Eid we'll go. And a few years down the line they'll even forget. The grandchildren will say, my father used to tell me, I think my grandfather is buried somewhere around here, I'm not so sure. That is the situation. Why do we remember Sahaba radiallahu anhu? Why do we remember the Imams? Why do we remember the pious people? For the knowledge of deen they had. For the work of deen they did. For the thing that they did for Allah and the thing they did for the deen of Allah. Hundreds of years have gone past, until today we look up to them. If we want the world to remember us, if we want the world to look up to us 100 years down the line, 200 years down the line, we need to do something for Allah. We need to do something for the deen of Allah. Allah give us understanding. Allah give us the ability. Today we have this attitude. We see a sheikh in the middle of town, or bichara, you know, he's doing his own little thing, his own shopping, and we see a sheikh, Sheikh, I've got a question for you. The sheikh will not say anything. He will answer your question, he will wait for you. He will not say anything to you. He's a humble person. No sheikh in the world will ever turn you down. No alim, no scholar in the world will ever tell you that I don't have time for you. They will always make time for you. Because in front of them have the deen. They are not worried about the world. They are worried about the deen of Allah. But oh my brother, with that attitude, you will not learn much. A person will not stop a doctor in the middle of the town and say, I need a prescription from you now. He will make an appointment, even if he has to wait a few days, go and visit his clinic, and then when the time is done, he will ask for whatever he needs to ask. He will never ask a solicitor in the middle of town that I need you to do this for me. But bichara is only the profession of a alim, a scholar, that you can ask, just ask him anywhere, anytime, and he will never say no. But that just shows us the lack of respect we have for a scholar of deen. Abdullah ibn Abbas waited a whole year just to ask that one question. We will just stop the scholar anywhere. He's wearing his shoe, we'll stop him. He's getting into his car, we'll stop him. The scholar will explain to us everything, but we won't learn much. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu learned everything, not because of his knowledge, but because of his respect for knowledge. Allah give us such respect. So many pious people, they say that we studied knowledge of deen for 20 years. From that 20 years, 18 years we just learned the etiquettes of learning that knowledge. 2 years was knowledge, the other 18 years was spent on learning the respect of knowledge. Imam Malik rahmatullahi, who I just mentioned, he said, when I used to be young, my mom used to put an imama on me. كانت أمي تؤممني. She used to put an imama on me. And she used to send me to the gathering of Rabi'atul Rai, who used to be an imam in Medina, in Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said, oh my son Malik, oh my little boy, go to the gathering of Rabi'ah and learn from him. Learn the ahadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam from him. But make sure you learn more respect, more adab, more etiquette of deen than you learn the ahadith. May Allah grant us understanding. May Allah bless us with the knowledge of deen. May Allah bless us with the etiquette of the knowledge of deen. May Allah accept us for His deen. Because it is only the deen that will help us in this world. It is only the deen that will help us in our grave. And it is only that deen that will take us all the way to Jannah, inshallah. May Allah grant all of us understanding. Ameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala rasulina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.